Hello, everyone. And today we wanted to explore what adversity means on both personal and organization level. Adversity is areas when our belief system clashes with the circumstances we face. While often in organization, this should be covered, meaning we would have rules of engagement that actually help us to understand how we're supposed to conduct when we are facing those circumstances. The circumstances we're currently facing today with the situation in the Middle East is something that organization and also personal weren't actually prepared for. I do know that in organization, a lot of organizations think that they've got this covered, as in most workforce environment. This is a topic that you will never find colleagues actually speak about, and rules of engagement are very, very strict about what you can talk about or not within the business context, sorry. But I do believe that because the circumstances are really extreme and really connected to the core and the definition of who we are as a person, that people will not be able to actually avoid that, even though sometimes it will not be an actual conversation or anything verbal, but it will show up in other ways, because we really cannot actually not be affected from what is going on. So we thought today is a good idea to share on a personal and an organization level, how can we actually face those circumstances? Because I don't believe that we can hide from them, and we should look at them at the face, and we would share some information and tips on how it's best to do that. And we will go to Lena for the personal side.
Yeah, thanks, Sarit, for kicking this off. I really genuinely believe, and that comes from personal experience, that we tempted to believe that the world should look like the way we think it should look, right? And if you think about organization as some of the people, and then the world makes up some of the people, organizations, etc., it really starts on an individual level. So if I believe that my beliefs, my interests, my interpretation of reality should be the same as yours and people around me, well, then we kind of set ourselves up for big trouble, and like, for example, I used to be absolutely obsessed with running, and in my close family and even friends, that's all I wanted to talk about. And I wanted them to really buy into how healthy and good it was for health, and to the point of obsession. Then I worked obviously in IT for many years, and I worked with people for whom logic was everything, and they were so meticulous in their project delivery, while I didn't really see the details. I was more of I could see the bigger picture, and that caused friction between us, because they couldn't understand why I wouldn't even look into details, while they drove me crazy with their attention of detail. So, basically, but what we need to understand, that all of this is just our paradigm, and it's our beliefs, and it's our conditioning, and this is how we see the world, and that not everyone interprets and sees and translates things the way we do, and accepting that. But in order really to get to that point, and that comes with self-awareness, that's why I believe self-awareness is the key. And with clearly seeing in a world with what's going on, that the world is lacking basic self-awareness. And the thing is, without us actually accepting ourselves fully for all our beliefs, no matter how strange they may seem to others, for all our likes and dislikes, for all of our imperfections, without being in full kind of self-loving connection with ourselves, we can't accept each other's, because we can't give something to someone that we don't have within ourselves. And what happens is, then when we don't accept others, it leads to judging, comparing, blaming, criticizing, which obviously inevitably will lead to conflict, whether it's in families, in relationships, in organizations, and then on a global scale. So, and actually going to pass it back to you, because I know you were a CEO of an international company. You grew that company from scratch. So I'm just curious, if you can tell me how you've experienced so many people, because you had company in Canada and Israel and England, all different kind of cultures interacting together, and whether you faced these kind of challenges.
Yes, I actually thank you for that, because when I was listening to you, I said I cannot avoid taking this a little bit to the extreme, because talking about sport, I do understand it's all the same, but I need to put that the boundaries a little bit further, because diversity and inclusion is a topic that is widely addressed in organization. An organization wants to be included and diversified. And when we are saying that, that means that all colors, all races, all opinions will include a global organization. Part of the beauty of the company that I grew was that we were sitting in major two immigration countries, Israel and Canada. We had I had the pleasure to work with almost all religions, all genders, all colors, all beliefs, because I believe that the right person to the right job has nothing to do with his religious, where it's coming from, okay, what country did he came from, what language, what color of skin, and what is his gender or tendency. And I think that today, more than ever, even though the circumstances in the Middle East are actually very extreme, and there is global organizations that are much more than the ones that I had, like Google, Microsoft, and you would have offices all over the world with people that will probably see the world different than I do. But I do believe that even though that organization rule of conduct will be very strict about not talking about it, people will not be able. It's our core definition, our religious who we are. It's our core definition. It cannot be avoided. And I'm here to remind something that probably HR in any company cannot say. Respect that. Remember that we are people by the end of the day. And it's okay. That person maybe not see the world, as Lena said, through a more connectable personal level, and I'm taking it to the global extreme, but it's okay that he has a different opinion than me. Doesn't make him less professional. We're all here to coexist. An organization is actually a microcosm of the bigger cosm. In the global scale, organization and economics, really, it's where we should actually see the fact that people that actually don't look at the world as me are still people. They eat the same way, they talk the same way, they have families. I get to know them. I usually thought we are the bridge, because I believe, because when you see a person, it's very hard when you see a person and you see him as a human being to take it to the extreme, even if you see life differently. When you actually seclude yourself and be only with the people that think like you, then it's very, 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 very easy to be aggressive, to be more identified, because you don't see the humanity in the other person. So I think organization has actually the mechanism to make us more actually exposed to other people, to other colors, to other genders, to other beliefs, to other countries, and see that by the end of the day, we are all people. So I'm replacing your HR people today. Remember that we are all people, and it's okay not to see the world as I do. Just don't take it to the extreme, because this is where we are losing it, and we are forgetting how we will actually need to debate on topics as human beings.
Right. And I mean, we're constantly dealing with people, right? And actually expecting everyone to be like ourselves is just pure insanity. And inevitably, it's part of life. We can't lock ourselves in a room with the people we just like, that make us feel good about ourselves, that don't challenge us. I mean, it's not possible. So we will interact with people who trigger us. In other words, they make us feel those emotions we don't like to feel, whether it's unworthiness, anger, fear, whatever. So for example, let's say you are in an office with someone and they say something to you, and you get angry because you think they don't respect you. You then go home and you have an interaction with your partner or your family, whoever, your mom, your dad, and they say something to you and they make you feel angry. You then go to the supermarket and you witness behavior in someone, whoever's doing what, and you feel angry. So now there's 3 completely separate incidences, but they still trigger that same emotion of anger within you. So what are you going to do then? I mean, the natural tendency, I think, of people is to go and blame that person for them doing something to us, for them making us feel this unwanted emotion. But actually, if we just step back and we pause, then we're like, well, actually, I'm the common denominator in all of this. You know, what they are doing is just reflecting something to me, something that is triggering that emotion. So let me address that. Because emotions don't just happen in vacuum. Emotion is not just something that manifests out of thin air. It's our beliefs that create those emotions. And what is the belief, right? It's just a thought that we've thought of multiple times, and that becomes our belief. And usually it's something in our childhood. So when you look at it from that perspective, then it's easier to remove that shame and blame and whatever else from the outside world, from all of the people, and go, hang on a second. So I'm having a belief, or I'm having a thought about something that said to me that triggers that anger. When else in my life did I experience that? And maybe it like takes you back to when you were 5, 6 years old. And I think even just that introspection, that self-reflection, even if you just do it even like once a day, you know, whenever we feel ourselves like getting heated up, that will start creating a big change in organizations and also in a world where we start taking responsibility for our emotions rather than projecting blame on everybody else around us.
Organization always has it easy. Don't talk about it. We have rules of conduct. But it's good tips that even if you're not allowed to talk about it, you have ways to actually deal with it internally, because it can actually, make your working environment unpleasant. But also remember that we are all people, and we're not meant to see the world in the same way. We just have to remember that by the end of the day, we're people. We are human beings, and our beauty is actually in our diversity. And our biggest thing is inclusion.
Absolutely. And, you know, we should really not try to control what we can't control. We can't control behavior of other people. We can't control how they speak to us, how they treat us. And the thing is, we don't even know what's been happening in their lives, how they were brought up. Actually, Aaron Apke, I don't know, I'm referring to him again. He did such a great analogy. He said, let's say you're going hiking and you go into the cave where you see a grizzly bear and that bear lashes out at you and scratches you. You don't go home and you're like, oh, that stupid bear, how dare he to upset me like this? So disrespectful, right? You don't, because, I mean, yeah, you hurt, you may be like pissed off, but you're not going to hold a grudge and judgment. I mean, if you do, it will be just completely stupid, because you realize it's a bear, and a bear just acts out of conditioning. And the thing is, that's what we do. We act out of conditioning. And a conditioning is just a set of beliefs, set of stories that we've been telling ourselves about ourselves. So that's what I'm saying. We can't really control how people react to us, what they say to us, what they do, but we can always control who we are and how we are responding. And it just starts with one person and one change. And it's going to have a big impact, I believe, on organizations and eventually on the world.
People. We are all people.
But don't go to grizzly bears. The point of the story, if you got a grizzly bear, you know, don't hold the judgments, okay? But don't go back there, right? You don't need to make friends with a grizzly bear. You don't need to invite them for coffee. Same as with that person, you know, whoever triggered you, just find it in you to like, it's got nothing to do with me. They're acting out of their conditioning. I don't need to be their best buddy, but I can still choose my state of being. And that's all it takes. Grizzly bears.
I don't think we're grizzly bears, but it's a good analysis. I just believe that when I usually see something that triggers in me, I remember that inside we're all the same. So I can be triggering somebody else. So I just remember that what I have inside and what I'm feeling and what I'm dealing with and my emotion could be different, but that the same operating system in the other person. So that makes me relate and understand that he's also human. You know, there is always the basic analogies, even the king goes to the bathroom. So, or put the pens one leg at a time. So we're all the same.
So we went from Grizzly Bear to the king.
I don't know. It's Britain, United Kingdom. I don't know. Maybe the king will go a long way.
Yeah, but I mean, guys, we live in this. I mean, we all know what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. It's, the thing is, even by making small little adjustments to our being, to choosing our emotions, choosing our responses, it can go a long way. So my call, at least, to use, just start becoming more aware of whatever it is that you're feeling, and experience it and feel it and take responsibility for your emotions. Nobody else is responsible for how you're feeling. Nobody else. Not even a grizzly bear. Anything else you want to add, Sarit?
In my mind.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I think she's laughing, so I would say, if you like the video, share, like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.